Hello, and welcome to this video introducing the Plinky 12 series of instruments, with blocks, chords, and the Toadstep. Here's what's to come in the video. This video is sponsored by Alex and Making Sound Machines. So it's a pleasure to introduce you to these Plinky 12 instruments. This is a new series of instruments in the Plinky family. They're 12 inches, like a vinyl record. They're super slim, and between the three instruments they feature a polyphonic synth engine, an expressive play surface, deep and rich sequencing features, and a series of connections to work with loads of other gear. Going through each one of them here, I'll overlay the image of the one I'm talking about, and we'll start with blocks, which isn't either one of these two. You can swap out the panels as we'll do later in the video. Blocks is the closest to your classic Plinky experience. So for now, I'll say go take a look at the OG Plinky or the Plinky Plus for some more background on that one. And then Chords is by Making Sound Machines, and much like how Making Sound Machines took a deep dive into wonky rhythms and released the fantastic Stolper beats, Chords features a really rich musical background and set of experience, presented as a way to play chords and explore harmony, and there's a lot of really smart features packed in there too. And then the third one here is the Toadstep, and this is designed with Isaac from Toadstool Tech, and is a 4-track sequencer inspired by the RYK M185 sequencer, and derivatives that followed like the Metropolis. Like the other Plinky 12s, it features an internal polyphonic synth engine, as well as creating MIDI sequences, but this creates 2 tracks of pitch, CV and gates as well. So going on the connections along the top, the Toadstep is ever so slightly different, but blocks and chords have a clock input, a reset, a clock output, 2 CV inputs, 2 CV outputs, USB-C power and USB connectivity, an SD card, a TRS MIDI input, 2 TRS MIDI outputs, a stereo audio input and a stereo audio output. And then the Toadstep swaps that second TRS MIDI output for a TRS dual gate output. There's an incredible kind of depth and range of smart features across these units that have really just rewarded exploration on my part while working on this introduction video. There's also a really great set of documentation for really getting into what these units are and what they can do, and connecting these to a computer, or I believe a phone and a tablet works too. You can power them and use connectivity there through that USB-C, and there's a function called Second Screen that boots up a virtual version of these Plinky 12 instruments and offers some guides and additional naming for some of the controls, and you'll see me overlay that throughout the video, as I found it to be incredibly handy. I should also say you can buy a single Plinky 12 instrument and then buy an alternative panel, and doing so then swaps out the firmwares. If you'd like to buy one but explore chords and Toadstep or blocks, those panels are easy to swap out, and I'll show you how to do that later in the video. This is just an announcement at this point. I believe they'll be released in the summer. You can follow Plinky and Making Sound Machines and Isaac at Toadstool Tech for info on all that. So feel free to get questions in the comments to inform future videos that we plan to make. I'm really looking forward to having an even deeper dive into these in the future. All the patches are on screen now and our timing links down in the description, so skip around as you like, and without further ado, let's dive in. So welcome to my literal first sequence and sounds with the Toadstep. I made this in about 5 to 10 minutes of taking it out of the packaging. I've since spent more time actually saving it, moving it over to this part of the studio, setting up the second screen function for all the Plinkies that I'll overlay to the left here. And actually getting all the video production stuff ready took way longer than just making this without really knowing what I'm doing. And I say that just to highlight that this is effectively kind of button per function. Everything's labelled. It's quite easy to get around before you then go off and read the manual or check out this video for more information. I'll just play around for a moment and then we'll get into the sequencing and the sounds and have a kind of musical user overview of Toadstep if you like. The manual is well worth a read for those deeper functions. So having spoke to Isaac from Toadstool Tech, I know that the Toadstep was designed as a sequencer first, and then that developed with access to the Plinky internal sound engine, and that's what we're using here. I'm recording the stereo output from this. All the effects are internal, there's no external processing. So let's start just overviewing these sequencer functions. We have 4 tracks here, and holding mute, I can see that B, C and D are muted. We'll stick to 1 track for now. You have your track and your patterns, 1 to 8. We then have quantizer notes as to what's available, and you could see me turning notes on and off. If I play this again, let's actually lose some of that shimmer. Pressing notes, this is my sequence. This selects what's on these sliders, and we'll go through them all. We have our notes, and what notes this can quantize to, so I could turn these off. And I really like being performative with quantizer note selections on note masks. It allows you to keep a sequencer pattern and playfully interjects different notes. Coming up from scale here, we have the length. We could take this out to say 16 steps. I don't have anything set in these second set of 8, so I'll stick to 8 for now. We have style, which when blue just plays as normal, green is legato, and you can mute steps as well. We have slides, slide is active there, and on jump we can select these to be an octave higher, an octave lower when that's red, or to have some variability in octave jumps on those notes. And then these are our pitches. If I go in and just select a different set of pitches, we can then go in and change the note repeats, which I'll come to in a moment. We have velocity. Velocity actually routes to the internal filter on the internal sound engine, and that velocity is present on the MIDI, but it's not present on the CV and gate. I'm not using CV and gate here, but it's worth mentioning velocity is internal MIDI and internal sound engine only. But you can see here that I can get into sequencing that filter with the velocity. We have probability that these steps will fire. So if I lower these 8 steps, they won't all necessarily fire. You could have some that will definitely fire, and then a much lower probability for others. Let's keep those up for now. And let's go back and get into the note repeats. This works in a couple of ways, which is really interesting, and this is where that Metropolis and RYK sequencing comes in. We can say add 4 steps on that first step, or 4 repeats on that first step. But within those 4 repeats, you can actually tap these lights, these buttons, and turn some off. So we could have 8 repeats, say, but actually make a pattern of notes that are on and off when the gates fire. You can also turn a repeat into a ratchet. If I add 4 there, and I hold repeat, and then press the style, this will flash, and we get a brrr. Let's go to 2. Turn the velocity up on that step. So we have a normal repeat and then the flashing indicating that ratchet. We have our play order down in the right corner here with forwards and backwards. And then we've different types of random. We've just random playback through these steps. But you can also have this kind of seed a random direction of steps, but then repeat that as well, which is incredibly musical. Sticking with this forward, we've also got octaves on the quantizer, so we could just drop an octave. We have a swing, so you can actually swing that clock. We have an overall gate length, which if I just go into the synth quickly, I'll come back to the synth. If we go into gate length here, we can shorten those gates. But we also have a G length, where you can sequence gate length. Let's get that lower on that ratchet. Maybe add another slide, some legato steps. Let's add some probability. Let's go random order. And now let's get into that synth engine. That's a general quick overview of the actual sequencing. We have a synth up and a synth down, and that's up and down labels on these sliders. Sticking with synth down, we have settings for octave and pitch. Like an octave control on your oscillator, we can glide all the notes. We have some sample settings, but I'm not using those here. We can add chorus or wobble, vibrato. We can add noise, which is getting filtered back, but hopefully you can hear that. Or you can blend in a sub-oscillator. You can distort or wavefold. There's a high-pass filter, the low-pass filter, with resonance. And then the synth up settings here. We have things like track level, we have our effect sends and our panning. We can send more shimmer into that reverb. Play with the feedback in the reverb, feedback of the delay. And that's just a quick look at both the sound side of this and the sequencing, let's get into sequencing some other gear and we'll look at some other features where we do that. Certainly take a look at all that documentation for a really great manual and guide to the Toadstep and all the other units. So doesn't this just sound killer? It's one analog voice here with Mavis into this BBD super post delay, but then it's all 4 tracks on the Toadstep playing as well. If I go to the synth settings here and just turn down the main output volume, this is the CV and gate, driving volt per octave and gate on Mavis. And if I actually go in holding mute and mute B, C and D and then raise the volume, this is track A playing the same pattern as it's track A that comes out of CV1, it's track B that comes out of CV and gate 2. But you can hear it's quite a different sound to that swelling Mavis pattern. And it's 16 steps here, moving at a divided by 2 rate from just a tempo that I tapped in. Let's bring Mavis back in. It's really nice, and this is kind of where the idea started, to just layer the internal sound with another sound. In this case, a nice analog effect and synth. Removing Mavis, let's just go through the tracks one by one here. Holding mute, let's lose A and check out B. This is a 13-step sequence, moving at a ×2 rate, so it's moving faster than sequence A. And I've gone in and set different sequence settings here. On the synth up settings, as I move through these channels, you'll see those settings change. So there's a different sound as well as a different pattern per track here. Got that octave jump, got a slide, got a legato note between slide styles and jump settings there. Let's check out track C. This is on ×4, so it's faster yet again. I'm using the velocity here to ping that filter open on certain steps. And between that 16-step pattern moving at ×4 and this 13-step one moving at ×2, I feel like I've got a really nice building of different rhythmic densities, different pattern lengths. And then the fastest of them all, unmuting D. It's just a 3-step ×8. And again, different synth settings here. There's a bit of folding on this one. And different track volumes. So mixing all 4 tracks here with different track volume settings on those synth up settings there on the Plinky synth. So unmuting them all. There's different sends to the effects as well, so some of them send to more delay, some to more reverb. That's all 4 tracks playing together. Let's bring in the analog voice with the CV gate out back to Mavis. Losing these 4 voices of Plinky. Let's bring them back in one by one here. Great addition to this would be actually taking MIDI out, either via USB, say into a DAW, or the TRS MIDI out to another device, and actually polysequencing 4 voices of sequencing on Toadstep into a polyphonic synth would be a nice kind of next step in exploring how all this comes together. from making sound machines. It's just a really beautiful interface to play melodies and chords together, and then it can go incredibly deep into sequencing, really in-depth chord work and sequencing, arpeggiating work. In this video, we're just going to look at the kind of first playthrough, quick start type things to just do really musical, I find really engaging things really quickly. Pressing chromatic here, this is what you're presented in terms of sound and interface when you first turn this on. And like the Toadstep part of the video, this is powered via my laptop's USB output, and I'm also using that to connect to the second screen function to overlay that. It's really handy with lots of extra information, but you don't particularly need it, though I'd recommend using it as you get started. And this is the interface you get when you first turn this on, with this play section up top. We can change the way this works, as you can do most things on the device. And then the play section and the chord section. And the chord section is 3 rows of 15 chords. And you can play between those rows very easily. And then play on top. This is set to chromatic by default as it turns on, but if we set this to scale, this works around the scale that the device is set to. So any chords we play here just becomes very musical very easily. You can see the notes in the chord you're playing too. Handy. You can also set this to just be the notes of these chords by pressing chord, so chromatic, scale, chord down here. When you press chord, this is the chord you've pressed, depending on which row you're on. And you can then strum them like kind of strumming through a chord on a guitar. But there's nothing stopping you still playing that, moving around these different notes while you're holding a chord or not. Now you might be wondering at this point what these chords are. I find it immediately engaging and quite fascinating just straight away. But if you press labels here, and say you didn't have the second screen overlay which is telling you the chords all the time anyway, let's go back to scale on this interface too. With labels on, you can actually see the chords. A minor there, C, D minor 7, C over E. So that's quite handy if you want to know what that chord is straight away. And you just press labels to turn that back off. Now if you want different chords, there's lots of banks of chords here. If I come up to another bank, maybe just play the first 4 in each one. So I really love this one, the third bank there and the first 4 chords. If I press labels, I can see what they are. Now if that's in the wrong key, we have a key button, so you can cycle around the circle of fifths. Let's go back to defaults here. We can change the treble, mid and bass notes within the chord if you really want to get into sculpting what these chords are. So as I hold down this first chord, let's turn off labels. You can see we can move around and invert all the different parts of that chord independently. Now one thing that's really lovely with chords is arpeggios, And we can do that very easily. If we just press play here, it just starts triggering this chord over and over. And it does so because if we press up, we can see we have a single step here on this white LED underneath of just all the notes being played. And you can extend this arpeggio pattern out when you get into some of the other play modes. It doesn't work in this first one. So if I hit the up button for up, which I'm moving through banks or keys, we have 6 notes in this chord here, working up. Now you can extend this out as long as you want. You see this pattern's automatically resetting as it does so. But you could have any kind of step length here and just change the pattern. And patterns can have rests in them. They can play all notes of the chord together. Set by the buttons on this left side. Pressing up here, we actually get like a handy metronome and we can see the tempo there. We're at 114, let's leave it there. Taking this back to 6 steps and just the actual pattern that it was. We have different arpeggio patterns. The next one shifts them all into the bass range, not particular suiting to this sound. But the next 2 are actually based on the DivSkip, the collaboration between myself, DivKid, and Making Sound Machines, where it has pre-timed events like strumming. If I come up actually to the next mode and then press a chord, I'm going to press stop here as well. Each time you trigger, you can ramp through them like a strum. Let's extend this out. And this bottom line is like the knob then on the DivSkip. We can start fast and slow down. Or you can start slower and speed up. So moving on from some arpeggiating basics, let's get into actually building a chord progression as we can sequence everything on here as well. So from where we are currently, let's actually go back down to that first arpeggio mode. Just hit play. This is just triggering all notes in the chord at the same time. If we go up to rhythm, this top lane now having some sequencer settings, you can hold root and set an amount of steps. This is 64 by default. You could just have 16. Let's actually stick with 64. And you can punch in rhythms here. So we could actually slide these holding X to remove them. You could go in and tap them. Quite nice just to kind of randomly slide around. So we now have this random just because I've pressed it randomly, rhythm. And you can turn them back on pressing them, and you hold X there to remove them. Now this rhythm is playing, I can still select my chord. Let's actually go in and actually sequence some chords, and it's as simple as pressing chord, selecting a step, and then choosing the chord for that step. I'll select the first one here and press the first chord. Let's do 1 per bar here across just these first 4, keep it really simple. So it's playing the rhythm that we've sequenced, and it's now playing those chords. I can go back, say to scale, play over the top. lots of fun ways to just keep playing over the top. Let's actually add another chord here. Let's maybe just do it on the last step here. Last quarter note, that is 4/16 notes back. Now while this is playing, you can actually go back into the arpeggio modes and have this sequence around this chord progression and this rhythm, and it then arpeggiate it. If I go back to the rhythm and I just turn all the steps back on, I'm just going to slide around until they're all on. Let's go to ARP, set this to that first play mode. Let's just go 6 steps. So we now have an arpeggio pattern selected, playing on every step, our trigger sequence on every step, and playing the chords that we've set. You can then go punch in kind of holes in this pattern, so I'll hold X. So we've got a rhythmic pattern now, a chord pattern, and our arpeggio. But the arpeggio, as we said before when we were playing it not as part of a chord sequence, can be anything. The first hit could be all those notes, so let's turn all of those on. Let's then have a gap. Maybe come down. Instantly, without that much effort, got a really interesting chord progression, rhythmic sequence, and arpeggio pattern. We could set these to be strums, so if we go up to those strum patterns and maybe take out quite a lot of that rhythm. To ARP, speed up. So hopefully at this point you're starting to see how musically kind of complex and interesting you can be with kind of very little effort. Now there's loads more to Plinky chords. There's lots of things I haven't touched, lots of labelled controls on here. There's lots of things in the documentation and on that second screen that you can use as a guide. But as an introduction to chords, let's leave chords here, but actually take a look at the sound. And we do that by simply pressing synth. And we have that Plinky synth engine. We have 5 controls here. They're labelled things like ADSR, panning, sub, the filters, HP, LP, reverb sends, delay sends, and then the bottom ones underneath there are all used to control glide, pitch, octave, chorus, folding, the start and ends of the wavetable that this is based on, and we have an XY pad, which is something we won't look at right now in the video. We'll maybe take a look at that in the future. So we could add a bit of attack to the sound. Maybe add some sub-octave. A little bit of filtering. Turning the delay down. Maybe turn up that glow, the shimmer on the reverb. Tail and send down. We could change the octave. Chorus. or distort. Maybe change that start position, which is like choosing your waveform. Let's go to a cleaner wave here and actually fold this. You can play with speed and endpoint, so as you move through this wavetable. And one really nice thing, a bit like the pinch to randomize on Toadstep, you can actually get in here and set randomizations. So if I just tap two different positions on the same setting, say in the octave here, this will randomize between this random setting. We could do that for the filter. Let's do that for delay send, reverb send, maybe the speed, the waveform. Just turn down the folding. Maybe a little bit of drive randomization. Release time on the envelope. I'm going to turn that shimmer down but feedback up on the verb. What a fascinating thing. It's like having a sample and hold on all the different synth parameters, which is very much something that I enjoy. All this randomization is great, and doing that within a range, a bit like attenuating a random voltage. Really lovely. Now, as we're not going to go any further with chords here, I'd specifically like to mention Nathan Plant's video. He goes through chords in much more depth than I have here. Check that out, which I'll link below. And thanks to Nathan for a great guide that he's made to getting started on chords. This is so stupidly good. I mean, these two pieces are great and really help, but the Plinky chords here, let's just listen to that in solo. This is near enough where I left that last patch thinking I'd move on from chords, but in playing around, I've only done a few things. If I go back to the actual chord sequence that we had, I changed the bank that the chords are in. So it's still those first 4 chords across 64 steps, 1 per bar. But I've just swapped what bank of chords I'm in, so the chords are different. I've gone back to an actual rhythm to drive a more normal arpeggio than that strum-like pattern that we had. So here you can see 64 steps of triggering. I've actually added, just going into velocity and playing around, and in all honesty, I didn't know what this did. It's just a series of lights and a velocity button. But I figured I'd play around, and the pink LEDs here, I just swiped my finger around, randomly creating velocity, and while it's played, that's driven those settings into this sequence. So I then selected the next lane, slid around the velocities and did it again. So we now have 64 steps of velocity sequencing, over 64 steps of separate trigger sequencing, over this chord sequence, and then going into the actual synth sound. I've just changed the sound a little bit. I've used 2 kind of settings on any given slider or parameter there for further randomization. And this is entirely Plinky's stereo output. Now, out of out 1, I'm sending through a TRS MIDI adapter into the DIN MIDI. Let's turn the Plinky down. I'm sending that MIDI into the peak. And excuse the crackle, it's a bit of a poorly piece of equipment, but here's that velocity-driven chordal polyphonic MIDI into a preset here that I've just tweaked on peak. That has some of its own effects on. The other effects that were on the Plinky were on the Plinky. There's no external processing other than mixing these things together. Oh, the other thing I did change, let's turn this back down and go back to Plinky here. As I mentioned, I changed that strum pattern on the arpeggio, so pressing ARP, I just set a custom longer arpeggio here, where we have all the notes stacked together like a chord, so you get a chord hit, and then some gaps and rests, and then just different upward arpeggios beyond that. Going back to synth to turn it down, here's peak one more time. And then turning that up in, it's just an excuse to use this, to be honest. It's rather luscious, grungy, poly prototype tape delay. The grunge on that thing. But outside of just enjoying and using a grungy tape delay, the point here is that you can take that MIDI out, drive, say, software or hardware polyphonic instruments that you can, of course, then process as I am here through a tape delay, and build up layers that work really well against the inbuilt sound. Building beautiful, layered, polyphonic, rich musical chord work. And all that randomization there on chords, the internal Plinky synth engine, just makes these sounds kind of poke out, dance, pull back, push into effects, less effects, compared to the static sound of my peak polysynth there. So before we take a look at the third Plinky 12 blocks, I'll have to swap the panel over. And that's a good chance to actually show you how to do this, as you can buy a single unit and get additional panels to swap out too. I do have two units here, the Toadstool Tech Toadstep in this white case, and I also have, in this rather nice cover, the Chords in its black case. Now I'm going to go with the Toadstep here. I think the white case is going to look great with this blocks gradient overlay. And the first thing to do is to simply remove the 9 screws on the unit. And now those screws are out, if you lift from the bottom and then just carefully, while keeping this almost like a joint close to the top, as that's where a ribbon cable is connected, you can then lay this back and not strain this cable. On this cable, and I'll zoom in and get a shot to overlay, there's two, it's kind of like a catch or a latch around it. If you just pop that up with your thumbs, you might need to use your nails a little bit. That will lift up and this ribbon will easily slide out. Then removing this Toadstep panel. And while we're here taking off panels, I'm going to put the blocks panel on, but there are others available, including just a plain black panel that they sent over for me to check out, and also a grey panel. You can do lots of different things, and there's code blocks given for you to develop things on this platform, so they might be handy just to show them in the video. But moving to putting on blocks here, that's going to go this way around, so I'm going to push this up to the top. And again, I'll try and get some shots of this. Pop open this catch, slide the cable in very carefully. I'm not trying not to strain anything here. And then once that's in, you can just pop that catch back down. That's now connected. And then it's a case of just popping those screws back on. And then this will boot up with the panel setting as it is. So this will boot up as a blocks. I'll get the screws in, power it up, and we'll have a quick look at the Plinky 12 blocks. So here's the Plinky 12 blocks. And it's the closest thing to the original Plinky or the Plinky Plus, where we have, just in this default view as it turns on, 6 strings to play here. The pink LEDs show us our root note. And you can hear as I go down them, this is quantized and set as a major scale. There's an XY pad down here to change the sounds. You can of course get in and play with those sounds, and the little icons on the panel there, I'll overlay a separate bit of video, help to just get around what this panel is doing. And as you're hearing me play here, it's that lovely pressure sensitive behaviour that just creates a really expressive polyphonic instrument. So here's a really nice way to just kind of fool around and play with the Plinky 12 blocks here, which in all honesty I've kind of got no clue what I'm doing with. I'm just really having lots of fun. But I think the kind of point of this, and something I really enjoy, is that whether it's the chords, which would work really well here, the blocks, or just another polyphonic chordal instrument, playing around with rhythmic things and sequenced things can instantly kind of set it in a musical context and work really well. Now I'm using a sequencer here and Trinity and samples too to make a drum beat, but if I just mute that, here's the sound of Plinky 12, the blocks into this pedal interface, and I'm coming into a stereo VCA to sidechain and duck against my kick drum. That's just underneath the Plinky here, resting on top of the modular system. But I'm using a dual channel low pass gate, so a stereo low pass gate. I'm using DivKid with Euclidean rhythms and probability rhythms, create this nice struck and plucked rhythmic thing. It's just so fun to play. I'm just kind of fooling around on the Plinky 12 interface here. That's going into some modular effects after the low pass gates. Just playing against those drums. If you've got this far in the video, drop a Plink sync down in the comments. Which of the instruments, the Toadstep, chords or blocks appeals to you the most? I'm looking forward to diving into all of these in the future. Thanks for watching. Head to patreon.com/DivKid to support what we do, gaining access to exclusive discount codes, videos, patchbooks, and to join the amazing DivKid Discord community. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!